morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are live yet again, and you are listening to IBGR.network, the International Business Growth Radio Network. I'm your host, Jan Robberts, global influencer, co-founder of Key Leadership Institute, founder of JR Speakers Club, and I'm a coach, trainer, speaker, values-based leadership specialist, personal profiling consultant, personal development professional, and so much more. But you can find all of these kind of things on the IBGR.website and check my profile, because there you'll find all of the above and so much more. But go to the IBGR.network. Now, by the way, we would love to hear from you live during the show, and for the listeners now, they're probably fully aware now that this is about the third or fourth time probably that we're also live on Facebook at the IBGR network as well. So if you want to watch it as well, I always said I had a face made for radio, but now I'm ashamedly on Facebook live again as well. But you know, if you've got any questions, if you listen to the recording, or if you listen live, or if you watch live on Facebook, give us some feedback, give us some questions. If you have questions for us, it's very important for us, as I will explain very shortly. But we're also on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at, of course, IBGR.network. Now, who would have believed this is already episode 12, and it's called P112.3 because it's season 3. And intentional is essential. I just thought it had a kind of little twang to it, so to be intentional is essential. And this is in our people lane, people skills for success at IBGR.network. Now, I really submitted my notes only this morning, in my time this morning, which was middle of the night for Donna. So they will be downloaded if they haven't been downloaded yet, on the IBGR.network, where you can download the show notes, of course. Now, we are near the end of season 3 already. Next week it'll be the season finale, and this is Christmas Eve. So yo ho ho! Let's have a wonderful Christmas. Before I even go any further, I want to wish all the listeners and all the viewers a most wonderful Christmas. However you decide to celebrate this, with however many people you celebrate this, you know, let's connect with each other. Let's contact each other. If we can't be with each other, we can be with each other. Like I am with you at the moment via the radio and via Facebook Live. But this has been an exciting season for many reasons. Of course, there is so much wisdom in 50 hosts around the world, in I think now 149 countries, and I will stand corrected if it's even more already. But only season 3, and people from 149 countries are listening into us. How amazing is that? But the other reason we've got tips, tools, wisdom, and always say the wisdom comes from the other 49 hosts, obviously. But also, you know, there is areas from all the show hosts 24/7, and it's operations, customers, finance. Today is People Day. Tomorrow, executive, to be on the business rather than in the business. And there is a host of information, because these are all people. We are all people who are running our own business, for better and for worse. But we all running our own business, and we want to share that information with you. And, you know, we're a global family, really. So today I want to talk about intentional is essential. Now, we were kind of guided in the last 11 sessions in what exactly roughly we're going to do, not exactly, roughly we're going to do, but today was a free-for-all, if you like. So I chose this because I think intentionality is so important in life, in business, in your social circles, in everything you do, if indeed you want to be successful or you want significance. I will talk a little bit more into that as well. But if this is your first time listening, welcome, even at this late time of the season. And you're here now, and this is near the end of season 3. But in January, we're going to start with season 4. And if you're watching, you know, welcome to you as well. And if you're a returning listener or watcher, welcome back. Now, I said already, is it not absolutely amazing that only in season 3, and these are roughly about 12 weeks each, only in season 3, 149 countries. And if it's more, I saw something flying by, but I don't know if it was the countries, but if it's more, then we'll hear this as well. But people from that many countries around the world are listening in every single week. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're all listening to me, but there is, it says 7 days a week, and 5 days there is hosts from around the world in 4 time zones, 6-hour time zones, so that makes 24 hours. Even my maths is as good as that. that we can listen into. But in this second last show of the season, I will really talk in a variety of areas, and I want you to get the very best of your life, your business, and as a leader as well. So I'm going to talk about intentional living, intentional business, intentional leadership, and as you find out pretty quickly, they're all connected. You can't get away from them. But it takes more than reading a book, putting some pictures on the walls, and then sitting with your eyes closed and hoping that these things are going to happen, and better must come one day. It actually takes a lot of work to be successful, to grow there, to fail forward. There are so many things, but change does not happen by chance. It happens by choice. And that's already something that you should remember. And we all have that choice. Now I will talk about the need for intentionality every single day. Not to have good intentions, but to live an intentional life where we can make things happen. Now, you might say, what is the difference between having intentions and being intentional? Well, we've all, me included, we've all had some good intentions. And how much did we do with those? With the new year just come around the corner, I can come up with a perfect example. New Year's resolutions. Who's had New Year resolutions? Yes, I have. And I'm sure all our listeners and our viewers have had as well. But which very rarely lead to revolutions and disappear from most of our agendas within, 6 weeks? Give it 8 at most. Now, I was regular at the gym when I was working abroad, and usually the first 6 weeks you couldn't get to your own training bikes, to your own equipment that you always had, but after about middle of February it started to taper off, and certainly in March there were a few people who were still determined to carry on, but it was done again. So the people who disappeared, they were going to do it all over again next year, because next year is the year it's going to happen. Now, we're only a week, 8 days away from next year. But I always wonder, why wait for the new year? Every day we've got a new day. And if we are going to be intentional, that's the reason I'm going to talk about it. Intentionality is not just for a resolution, which doesn't lead to a revolution for most of us. I'm going to write that down. I just thought of that. But we can do this every day we wake up. When I wake up every morning, I say I'm blessed and highly favored, because I am. There are so many people who would trade places with me. But then what are we going to do with our day? Because if you don't do anything better today than you did yesterday, why would you need tomorrow? I think you get the picture by now. But intentions alone are not enough to make a difference. It's simple enough. The world, we've all heard, the world is paved with good intention. But here's the difference. People with good intentions do something good occasionally. And people who live intentionally do something good continually. Now, I like that. Not tomorrow, not one day, not someday, every single day. Continually. And I'm going to talk into that. And I'm also going to talk into change. Because change happens all around us, it happens to us, and it happens within us. Now, what happens around us, we have no control over whatsoever. What happens to us, we often have no control about. But the good thing is, quite often we can move. I always say, you're not a tree. If you don't like it, move. Move. It's not a reindeer, but I mean, whatever. But what happens within us, now that we have total control over. Hold on, I'll change that. We have a choice to control. Because how often, I call it blame storming, as we blame the neighbor, the government, COVID, all these other kind of things, and everybody's to blame for everything's so bad with me, and even on Christmas Eve, and blah, blah. No, the only person who can be control of what happens within you is the person looking in the mirror. That person is you. You have a choice. And it's always easy to become the victim of your circumstances, of course. And, I mean, I was well on my way in that growing team, but I started to read my first personal development book many, many years ago. And I have read many since. Now, it's not just about reading a book, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But I also read Intentional Living and decided to take action on its contents. And that's very important, because knowledge is not power. Knowledge acted upon is power. And knowledge acted upon and then revisited and reflected upon every evening is even more powerful. Well, I already did not buy into the negativity around me by choice. But the biggest room is and always will be the room for improvement. So there are two great quotes that come to mind here. And I will just make sure that I keep an eye on my clock here, because you can put you can see the light behind me. But I need to make sure that I am on time, because last week I don't know what happened. My time went all to pot really. But two great quotes here. For things to change, we need to change. And the other one is, the thinking which got you in the situation you are right now will not get you out of it. Therefore, you must change your thinking intentionally. I'm going to keep repeating that word so often. But I am very near the first break already. Who would believe it? I mean, 12 minutes, just like that. But you need to stay tuned to our community of commerce. I loved it. It's, you've heard of Chamber of Commerce, but this community with 50 hosts around the world can't be contained. So it's a community, and our social media platforms are everywhere. So, we need to stay tuned with us, but connect us in real time during the show. But also you can go online and connect with us there. So when you go online, there is a pulsating question mark in the corner, the same as here on Facebook. You can give comments to us, but on the radio, we are just going to take a very short 2 to 3 minute break, and then we're going to talk really into intentionality and how we can become more intentionally, so next year won't be the same as last year. So don't go away on the radio. I'll be back very soon.